The phenomenon of spontaneous human combustion is arguably one of the most mysterious and horrifying events that can occur to the human body. It's hard to imagine the immense pain a victim must endure while engulfed in such flames. No one has been able to explain why an ordinary person can suddenly turn into a human torch. Some believe the victim's clothes catch fire, trapping them in the flames. Others suggest it could be due to an unusually high body fat percentage. There are even those who attribute it to divine punishment or being burned alive by an invisible force. It is, without a doubt, a truly terrifying concept. So, what is the truth behind this phenomenon of spontaneous combustion? Even with the advancements of modern science, there are still countless strange occurrences within the human body that remain unexplained. Beyond spontaneous combustion, there are also accounts of levitation or the elusive sixth sense. Today, let's uncover the mysteries behind these phenomena. Welcome back to our video, Humans and Mysterious Phenomena. We've noticed that the phenomenon of spontaneous human combustion, SHC, is one that garners exceptional attention. Perhaps it's because of its sheer mystery and its unnerving nature, which stands out even more than most diseases or forms of human suffering. Despite this interest, do we truly have a clear definition for this phenomenon? In English, spontaneous human combustion is referred to as spontaneous human combustion, abbreviated as SHC. It is a pseudo-scientific concept describing cases where a living or recently deceased human body bursts into flames without any apparent external or internal ignition source. Historical accounts have recorded instances of spontaneous combustion that align with the SHC phenomenon. In addition to more recent reports, descriptions of this phenomenon are also believed to have appeared in ancient texts. Both sources share similar characteristics. This suggests that spontaneous combustion in humans has existed for a long time. However, it wasn't until the last century that it began to be specifically documented and studied. So, what have we learned so far? On July 2, 1951, the most infamous case of human spontaneous combustion occurred in St. Petersburg, Florida. At around 8 a.m. that morning, a landlady named Mrs. Carpenter received a telegram for her tenant, Mrs. Reeser. When she approached Mrs. Reeser's door to knock, she noticed a wave of heat radiating from the door and the doorknob was scalding hot. Alarmed and fearing a fire in the room, she called for help. Two painters passing by assisted her in opening the door. What they encountered was even more terrifying than a typical fire. Mrs. Reeser, 67, had been reduced to ash. Her body appeared as if it had been incinerated in a crematorium, yet her feet, still wearing black slippers, were seemingly untouched by the flames. Several objects in the room were affected by the intense heat. The ceiling was blackened, and candles and plastic cups nearby had melted. This incident sparked widespread concern and led to various theories about the cause of the fire. Some claimed Mrs. Reeser had been murdered using a high-temperature welding torch. Others suggested she had been blown to ashes after consuming explosives, while some even mentioned ball lightning as a possible explanation. This event prompted investigators to revisit historical accounts of similar occurrences. Surprisingly, it was not the first time such a phenomenon had been recorded in history. According to ancient origins, over the past 300 years, more than 200 cases of spontaneous human combustion have been documented. These instances showed no signs of external fire sources. The common characteristics of these cases include victims typically being found alone at home, with their heads and torsos burned to ash while their extremities remained intact. In some cases, their internal organs were surprisingly unaffected. The surrounding areas in the room showed little to no damage, apart from a residue of greasy soot on furniture and walls. In 1641, Danish physician Thomas Bartholin described the mysterious death of Polonus Vorsgus, an Italian knight, in a book about unusual diseases. This case, which occurred in 1470, involved Vorsgus consuming strong alcohol and then vomiting flames before being consumed by fire. It is considered the first recorded case of human spontaneous combustion in medical history. Shortly after Bartholin's accounts, in 1673, French author Jonas Dupont published a book examining cases of spontaneous combustion. These early records laid the groundwork for understanding this enigmatic phenomenon. One of the most famous cases in France occurred in 1725. A Parisian innkeeper woke up to find that his wife had burned to ashes. Her body lay on a straw mattress, which, curiously, remained intact and unburned, as did the wooden furniture surrounding her. All that was left of his wife were her skull, a few vertebrae, and her leg bones. Initially, the husband was suspected of murdering his wife. However, he was later declared innocent thanks to the testimony of a surgeon who had been staying at the inn and witnessed the aftermath. The wife's death was subsequently declared a punishment from God. From that point, cases of spontaneous human combustion, SHC, began gaining more prominence, particularly in the 19th century. Science could not remain silent on this phenomenon. After numerous analyses, evaluations, and careful observations of these incidents, researchers identified several common characteristics associated with SHC. The victims were often chronic alcoholics. The majority of them were elderly women, but their hands and feet would often detach and remain unburned, while the rest of the body was completely incinerated, leaving behind a greasy, foul-smelling residue. Additionally, there are many minor details that cannot be entirely cataloged. The details and evidence surrounding these incidents led researchers to propose a phenomenon now referred to as the wick effect. According to this theory, the human body functions similarly to a candle, where clothing acts as the wick. If clothing catches fire due to a cigarette ember or embers from a fireplace, the flames penetrate the skin and ignite the fat beneath it. Body fat begins to burn at approximately 250 degrees Celsius, 482 degrees Fahrenheit. As the fat melts at high temperatures, it saturates the clothing. At this point, the clothing acts as the candle's wick, while the fat serves as the wax. This process forms what can be described as a living candle, which can burn steadily for up to 12 hours or longer. However, in cases where spontaneous human combustion results in large-scale fires, it may be due to flammable materials near the victim's body, such as chair stuffing, rugs, flooring, or similar items. In practice, the wick effect has also been used as an effective method for disposing of corpses in criminal cases. For instance, in 1991, 2 hikers discovered a burning female corpse in a forest near Mayfield, Oregon. The body, lying on the ground, belonged to an obese woman with stab wounds on her chest and back. By the time the police arrived, most of the woman's body had been reduced to ashes, leaving only a gray powdery residue on her spine and pelvis. The perpetrator had poured a small amount of flammable liquid, commonly used for barbecues, onto the victim's clothing and set her on fire. This triggered the wick effect, causing her body to burn for 13 hours before being discovered. The wick effect also explains why hands and feet, parts of the body with little to no fat, are often left unburned. Furthermore, it clarifies why spontaneous human combustion, SHC, is more commonly observed in obese individuals, where the initial source of ignition cannot be identified. To gain more certainty, researchers conducted experiments on animals. They wrapped a pig carcass, approximately the size of a human body, in a blanket, poured a small amount of gasoline on it, and set it alight. The gasoline burned out within 3 minutes. Afterward, the pig's body, still wrapped in the blanket, continued to burn slowly. During the burning process, the flames were weak but steady, with minimal heat output, and the surrounding environment was largely unaffected. The pig carcass burned for 4 hours before being extinguished with firefighting equipment. Upon examination, about half of the pig's flesh had been consumed by fire, and some bones were reduced to ash. Conclusion: the experiment demonstrated that the wick effect could indeed replicate the spontaneous combustion of a human body. It also provided insight into how such an event might have occurred 200 to 300 years ago. However, the mystery of the initial ignition source remains unsolved and difficult to explain. Although spontaneous human combustion remains a mysterious phenomenon, we have certain grounds for speculation and further research to understand it better. That said, there are other enigmatic phenomena that occur within the human body, where their concepts and manifestations lie entirely beyond our current understanding. We may know of them and observe them, yet lack concrete evidence to confirm their existence or pinpoint their causes. One such phenomenon I want to highlight is the mysterious scientific concept known as the sixth sense. There may be no need to elaborate on the term sixth sense, as it is already quite familiar to us today. Essentially, the sixth sense is understood as intuition or gut feeling, varying from person to person. However, the exact nature of the sixth sense has been the subject of much debate. In 1920, the concept of the sixth sense was first introduced and developed by German scientist Rudolf Steiner. He defined this concept using the term extrasensory perception, ESP, which refers to the ability to perceive information through a sense beyond the 5 basic senses. Steiner categorized ESP into 5 commonly recognized abilities. 1. Telepathy. 2. Clairvoyance. 3. Future prediction. 4. Psychokinesis, manipulating objects through willpower. 5. Retrocognition, perceiving past events. Both you and I must acknowledge the undeniable truth. Many individuals seem to have the ability to sense or imagine something without relying on the traditional senses of sight, hearing, taste, smell, or touch. This phenomenon is often referred to as the sixth sense. Unlike other mystical phenomena associated with oral traditions or spirituality, the sixth sense is a subject that has been officially recognized by the scientific community. Furthermore, it is considered a crucial topic requiring meticulous and serious research. If we successfully decode the sixth sense, we might be able to answer the profound question: can humans sense and foresee the future to avoid unforeseen disasters? Disregarding any conflicting opinions or endorsements, we already have numerous famous stories tied to the sixth sense of great individuals. A prime example is Dmitry Mendeleev, the Russian chemist and father of the periodic law of chemical elements. Remarkably, the entire periodic table appeared before him in a dream. Many have explained this case by suggesting that after decades of research, the concept had matured in his subconscious, and the result materialized in a dream. All Mendeleev had to do was wake up and write it down. It's not just scientists. Military leaders and politicians have also demonstrated an uncanny ability to intuitively foresee critical events. Some renowned individuals have even escaped death thanks to their sixth sense. If you're skeptical, consider this man. Winston Churchill, the great former Prime Minister of Britain. His ability to pose for a photo with a cigar like this owes, in part, to the crucial role played by his sixth sense. The story dates back to 1944. Before embarking on a car journey, Churchill had a premonition that something was wrong. Just as he was preparing to leave the rocket platform, German Luftwaffe bombers suddenly appeared. The chauffeur quickly started the engine and moved the car. For some reason, Churchill hesitated to get into the car and instead walked around to the back. At that precise moment, a bomb exploded right next to the car door, creating a massive crater where the car had just been. In his memoirs, Churchill wrote, "It felt as though an inner force had warned me to step away from where I was standing." Another case occurred in 1966, on a cold morning in the mining village of Aberfan, located in South Wales. A devastating collapse of water and debris accumulated from mining operations caused a massive landslide from the mountains, destroying everything in its path. The tidal wave of earth, rocks, and shale completely obliterated classrooms at Pantglas Junior School within seconds. Tragically, 116 children and 28 adults were buried alive under meters of wet, black sludge. The day before the disaster, Erin Ma, a student at Pantglas Junior School, told her mother about a dream in which the classrooms were destroyed, with no one inside, everything covered by something black. Unfortunately, her parents did not believe her premonition, leading to Erin and 115 of her classmates perishing the following day. In addition to the aforementioned stories, countless other famous accounts highlight the sixth sense, such as Lincoln dreaming of his own death or Tesla discovering ideas through his dreams. Even today, we can easily identify prominent figures globally associated with having a sixth sense. One such individual is Ingo Swann. Renowned as the pioneer of remote viewing exploration, Swann could determine someone's location, provide fairly accurate descriptions of that place, or even perceive the contents of a sealed black box from outside a closed room. However, Swann himself never considered himself psychic. describing his work instead as that of a scientist researching the spiritual world of humanity. Another case is Jeffrey R. Palmer, an Australian expert in locating missing persons. He has assisted the police on numerous occasions in solving mysterious cases. Dubbed the psychic detective, Palmer gained international recognition for accurately predicting two natural disasters: Hurricane Katrina in the US in 2005 and the devastating tsunami in 2004 that struck Indonesia and other surrounding nations. Palmer is also a renowned writer for top publications, contributing articles on using spiritual energy for healing. However, given the vague nature of the concept and its manifestations, can we truly explain it scientifically? Recent research suggests that the sixth sense, which enables people to foresee the future or sense impending mysteries, is actually a mental trick. According to the findings, human consciousness is only aware of a limited number of impressions perceived through the five basic senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. The remaining impressions are stored in the subconscious mind, ready to be accessed when needed. Yet, in certain situations, the human brain cannot immediately process incoming information, resulting in a vague sensation that defies explanation. Scientists assert that the subconscious never stops working, continuously accumulating information, experiences, and memories. This subconscious repository acts as an infinite reservoir for intuition to arise. Therefore, intuition is not merely a matter of luck. It emerges from a brain that has been primed and supplemented with logical analysis, offering vital clues. In criminal investigations, witnesses are sometimes invited to identify suspects or reconstruct critical elements of a crime scene. It's fair to say that the sixth sense represents an untapped potential of the human mind, particularly among professionals who must make life or death decisions in an instant, such as firefighters, emergency responders, or combat soldiers. These individuals frequently exhibit a heightened sixth sense, acting on an inexplicable hunch during emergencies when conscious decisions are not feasible. The sixth sense is not necessarily a miraculous or divine power, as often portrayed. It can be influenced by numerous external factors. One significant factor is how emotions and mental states strongly affect the efficacy of intuition. Psychologists have conducted experiments revealing that emotions and mental states significantly influence intuitive activity. In one experiment, researchers asked a group of participants to predict the summer weather and the age of a person. Later, they asked these individuals to complete various psychological and emotional tests. The results revealed a significant difference in the predictions made by participants with varying emotional states regarding the two earlier questions. Specifically, individuals in poor moods tended to predict bad weather and, consequently, made more pessimistic guesses in subsequent psychological tests. This indicates that emotions and mental states can influence how we think and make predictions. Moreover, physical reactions within the body are also among the primary factors affecting intuitive performance. Experiments have shown that in emergencies, dangerous, or highly stressful situations, the body naturally activates its fight or flight response. Human intuition tends to function more effectively in such scenarios. In addition, exercising and maintaining good physical fitness can enhance cardiac and respiratory functions, increase oxygen supply, and improve nervous system functionality, all of which contribute to better cognitive capabilities. The sixth sense remains a mysterious and controversial subject. Although we may not achieve supernatural powers, we can enhance our perception and predictive abilities by regulating our emotions, maintaining mental balance, and staying physically healthy. Future experiments and scientific research will likely help us better understand human intuition and perception, providing deeper insights into this mysterious and fascinating phenomenon. In conclusion, the truth about the sixth sense remains an enigma, but we can gradually uncover its secrets through scientific experiments, real-life cases, and theoretical research. From spontaneous human combustion to the sixth sense, it's clear that even with advanced science, many mysteries remain unsolved. Do you trust in science or in yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the discussion with others. And now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you in the next video. Wishing everyone a peaceful and wonderful day.